Like me, I have chronic anxiety. And so when I feel anxiety, like really pay attention. When you're feeling something, name it, close your eyes and check in with your body. What are you actually feeling?
Dr. LaTonya Bias's life changed when she was first diagnosed with lupus over 20 years ago. Although lupus chose her, she overcame and learned to adapt to lupus while living her life to the fullest. Mrs. Bias will share lessons, inform, inspire, and with a variety of professionals and friends, encourage lupus sufferers to take back their life. Join LaTonya as she guides you on a journey through life with an autoimmune disease and teaches you ways to love your life with lupus. This is Lupus, It Chose Me.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome once again to the Lupus, It Chose Me podcast. I am your co-host, Gina Hill, along with Dr. LaTonya Bias. And today we have a guest. Our guests are always very special. I say we have a very special guest.
Awesome.
They're all special. And today's special guest is Stephanie Bertram. Stephanie is with Vitality Weight Loss Institute. And she is a mindset coach, okay? And so we all need somebody to help us set our minds. So today we're going to just dive right in and walk right into how to set our minds and get ready for a great conversation with Stephanie. So Stephanie, why don't we start by you telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this mindset business?
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. My name's Stephanie Bertram, and I am, a certified life and weight loss coach, and they call me a mindset coach with Vitality Weight Loss Institute, and I work with my own clients and patients, and I help them to basically navigate their obstacles, whether it be trying to lose weight, trying to manage their stress, trying to deal with an autoimmune disease, a number of different things. I help them adapt to the mindset that they need in order to achieve what it is they want most for themselves in their lives.
Yes, she does.
I've been doing that for, with Vitality, it's been about 2 years now, but I've been a mindset coach, I would say, for about 6 years now.
Nice.
So,
okay. And one of the things that we want everybody to know is that mindset coaching is a tool that Dr. LaTonya Bias has used in her journey, and Stephanie has been her mindset coach.
Absolutely.
So Stephanie, you talk about teaching people the power of their minds and how to utilize them in a way that serves them. So tell us exactly what is mindset. How would you define mindset? And then how do you help people utilize them in ways that serve them?
Yeah, so mindset is really just a person's mindset is going to be determined by the quality of that person's thoughts. Okay, so a lot of people refer to somebody as either having a negative mindset or a positive mindset. So somebody that I would say has a positive mindset has high quality thoughts. The way that they view the world, the way that they think about themselves, the way that they think about life in general is in a way that serves them if they've got a positive mindset. Whereas somebody that maybe has a negative mindset, the quality of their thoughts are poorer or they're not serving them. They're creating more negative thoughts.
Okay.
And so basically I do a lot of thought work because our mindset is really just determined by the thoughts that we think. And if you have a human brain, you've got over 64,000 thoughts a day. That's a lot of thoughts. A lot of the people that I work with don't realize that. And a lot of the times they don't realize that they're running off of autopilot thoughts that are dictating their mindset. A lot of the times it's a negative mindset they're not even aware of. And so my job is to come in and be like, look, do you notice these thoughts that you're thinking? Do you see that these are actually choices? A lot of people also don't understand that their mindset and how they choose to think is where their free agency lies. It's a choice. And my job as a coach or a mindset coach or a life coach or whatever you want to call me, some people call me their therapist. They're like, no, I'm not a therapist. Is to show you your own mind.
I love that word that you use, choices. I use that word all the time. I think LaTonya can tell you that, years ago, I would say to her, life is about choices
that you make.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And there is a consequence for every choice, a positive or negative consequence for the choices that we make. So I love that you use that word choice, because I think it gives people hope, right? That there's not just one way to look at something. There's several ways to look at an issue, a problem, a challenge. And so you have choices, and you can choose how you want to approach this. So LaTonya, I'm going to let you tell us a little bit about how you were introduced to Stephanie and how the interaction between the two of you when you were diagnosed, or when in talking about lupus to Stephanie, how that all kind of came together and how your relationship took off.
So it was very tough. It was very tough because I was the meanest, greenest person on earth, because I didn't want to step into, no one could tell me what I needed to do, because I think I thought I knew it all. So it's like, you can't tell me nothing. I done been down every dietary program that you can actually deal with. I've seen a naturopathic doctor. There's nothing. So, but okay, I'll go ahead and give you a try. If you think
she gave me a try.
If you think you can do it. So I had an actual dietitian, and then the actual Megan, she's a
the PA.
The PA.
So the PA, yeah. Yep.
And so she was like, I think, Tanya, I know how you feel, because I was so mean to her, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
She still loves you.
Yeah. And she was like, well, how about we speak to someone who can help you as far as your mindset on your thoughts? And she said that because I thought she said this because I was so mean to her. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Sure, let's go ahead and let's meet her. But that's just one more person, right? I'm already seeing a dietitian and you. Now you want me to see somebody else. Okay, fine. Go ahead. So her name is Stephanie. She's really sweet, and she will help you kind of keep you together when it comes to understanding why you choose the things that you choose and act. She used the word act the way you act. And I said, what have you been implying? She's like, no, I'm just saying. I mean, we were like butting heads.
I love the transparency.
Yes. And so anyway, I said, okay, I would do it. Set up an appointment. She set it up for me. And I got on a call with her, and I saw her, and I was going, okay. She was like, well, hello, how are you? And I was like, yeah.
I was like, I'm not having it.
And I'm telling you, when she started questioning me about certain thoughts, I'm telling you, I felt like I fell in love. I was like, oh my God, this is it. You're right. And she was like, so think about this and think about that. And I was like, why do I need to think about it? I want this candy bar over here, and I'm getting ready to get this candy bar.
So wait. So Stephanie, I want to know what your first impression was of LaTonya. And is it typical for people to come in with the mindset and attitude that she came in with?
I would say it's very common, and that I completely understood her point of view.
Oh, she did.
And the frustrations. And I didn't hold it against her and make it mean anything about me.
Oh, she broke me in so fast. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll see you next week. I'll see you next week. But to get to the point, I just had to throw that in there, that my mindset when I came in was very negative. I didn't think that it was needed. I didn't think it was necessary based on what my goals were, but they were my goals, right? And their job, and Stephanie's job, was for me to see the bigger picture. It's not only about just, from what I've learned, it's not only about just what my expectations are, but where these expectations are coming from.
Right.
Is it the feelings that we have that is causing this reaction to do this or to do that? So that ended up being an opportunity for growth and learning about myself and my mindset and my thoughts and my feelings. And I fell in love, and I just can't stop seeing her now. So
like she said, they say she's a therapist. She is so way up there because she really dives in and make you think about one. In general, feelings was my biggest key because she would ask me the question, LaTonya, is that a feeling? And I'd be going, is it?
Yeah.
Is
Well,
it a
the thing
feeling?
with LaTonya that I noticed is that you're very smart. Like, you know the actions that you need to take in order to get a lot of the results that you want, right? Whether it be weight loss or eating in a certain way or doing the things that you know, like prevent some of the symptoms that you deal with having lupus. Like, you know all those things, but it's a matter of if you are not thinking, right? And I talk so much about thoughts because how you think determines how you feel emotionally. Thoughts create your feelings. We think lupus and circumstances create our feelings. It's actually our mind that does that. So when she sees that, like, her mind is generating her feeling, and if you're not feeling in a way that's going to create the action that intellectually you know you need to take, it's never going to happen.
Right.
Right? Even if intellectually you know what to do.
So Stephanie, tell us more. That sounds like what you shared with me with respect to the model that you teach and the CTFAR model.
Yes.
What is that? Tell us a little bit more about
Exactly
that.
what we coach on. So that is the foundation to all of the coaching that I utilize. I didn't create the model. I was certified at the Life Coach School. Bert Castillo is the one who created the model and where it was taught the model. But it was like a game changer the moment that it sounds so simple, but it just clicked as soon as I understood the model. And so the premise is it's 5 components, CTFAR. And the C stands for circumstances, which lots of different things can go in that C line. And I'll put it on my board and I'll write CTFAR when I'm seeing patients or LaTonya. And so, you know, we could put your weight in the C line. We could put the weather. We could put lupus. We could put doctor diagnosed me with lupus as a circumstance. Okay. A lot of the times our circumstances we have zero control over. Sometimes we do, but a lot of the times we have zero control over them, right? Like for me, for instance, I was recently diagnosed with lupus. I thought I had control over it. I thought I had my stuff together. I was healthy. And I'm like, okay, there's a C I wasn't expecting, right?
There's a C.
So we're dealt with these circumstances, and then our thoughts, right? Our thoughts about circumstances determines how we feel. Okay, so thoughts create our feelings, and then feelings drive our actions. That's what the A stands for. Actions or lack of action.
Like going to the refrigerator and opening it up and looking in there to see what can I get, knowing there's really nothing I need. But I just go, that's my action. I go and I stand in front of the refrigerator and go, and then shed it and go back over
And
there,
that's driven by LaTonya's feeling and her thought. The feeling maybe being an urge or a craving, right?
Yes.
And the thought being, I need that, I want that, I had a hard day, I'm stressed, I don't feel good, or a number of different things it could be, depending on who you are, right? So a thought triggered that feeling drove that action to go open the refrigerator, right? And so basically, how you show up in your life, right? The action that you continually take or lack of action determines your results, which is what the R stands for.
Okay.
So basically, in summary, I believe that our thoughts create our results, right? That all stems back to mindset. The quality of your thoughts determines the quality of how you feel. How you feel determines how you show up.
That's right.
How you show up
And it works.
determines your outcomes.
It really do, because I was 210 when I started with her and I'm 185 now. So.
Oh, yay. Congratulations.
I don't
Round of applause.
Very
Yes,
nice.
Thank you, darling. Thank you.
So you were very open to it, though, I want to say. You were very open to it. And you answered all the questions. And you stayed on the call. She didn't hang up on me. So,
So Stephanie, thank you for sharing that you were recently diagnosed with lupus. So when you think about your own diagnosis, when you think about your relationship with LaTonya as a patient, how does your mindset affect hearing that you've been diagnosed with lupus and living with a lupus diagnosis? How does mindset play into all of that?
It's going to affect everything. Your mindset regarding that diagnosis is going to determine your experience of that diagnosis, I believe. And I'm just going to be blatantly honest. I was just diagnosed a month ago. In the first 2 weeks, I was just telling you before we started recording, I was terrified. I was sad. I was angry. My thoughts were, this sucks. This isn't fair. I'm healthy. This doesn't happen to me. This is stupid. Like all the negative thoughts, right? And I knew, right? I'm a mindset guy. I know my thoughts are creating that Feeling defeated, I think, was my predominant feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I think initially, like when you are dealt with news like that, it's okay to mourn it. It's okay to be sad about it. I actually gave myself permission to just be angry about it and be sad about it.
Mhm.
Right. And that was a good 2 weeks of ruminating in my, my self-loathing.
Uh-huh.
And then from there, I just decided, okay, it's a choice. Like, how do I want to think about this?
Uh-huh.
What else? I had to ask my brain, what else could I possibly believe about this diagnosis other than I'm doomed and this sucks? Because I could keep believing I'm doomed and this sucks. But when I believe those thoughts, which are just simple little sentences in my brain,
Mhm.
I feel completely defeated.
Mhm.
And I know me going about trying to navigate this new diagnosis and figure it out from a place of defeat, it's not going to create the result that I want.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm not going to be in the position to learn more about it or figure out how to live a full life with this,
Mhm.
right? From a place of sadness and defeat and sorrow and poor me. And so, over the past month, I've really just been practicing and I'm still working on it. What do I want to think about this? You know, maybe it's happening for me. Maybe this allows me to connect to my patients on a different level. Maybe this allows me to understand them on a different level.
Mhm.
Maybe this is happening for me. And a big part of me believes those thoughts just as much as I believed I'm doomed and it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
play with the idea, like I can hold both of those beliefs and those opposing thoughts.
Mhm.
If I practice more of the time believing on purpose, that's what I call deliberate thinking,
Okay.
choosing my thoughts on purpose, which we all actually can do. We haven't been taught that. I wish we were.
Mm-hmm.
But when I practice choosing how I want to think about being diagnosed with lupus,
Mhm.
and I think that it is serving me, I feel a sense of calm or almost peace.
Really?
Yeah, it moves me out of anxiety and fear.
Mhm.
And there's still a little bit of it there, I'm not going to lie.
Mhm.
But when I really wrap my head around the belief, this is going to make me stronger. This is going to help me to be a better coach.
Mhm. Mhm. So, did you find yourself sort of playing back some of the same things, some of the same advice to yourself that you've given to LaTonya? Was there a moment where you said, you know what? I just said this to a lupus patient. I just told a lupus patient that they needed to feel, I was asking questions about feelings and things like that to a lupus patient. And then you flip the script on yourself. So how did that, talk to me about that, your mindset and the process of coaching or getting back in the coaching seat after you were diagnosed and coaching LaTonya?
Yeah, 100%. All of that went through my head. I'm like, my first thought was like, all right, here's where I get to practice, what I preach. Here's where I get to utilize the tools on a whole different level. Here's where I get to blow my own mind with my mindset and the tools that I know. Here's where I really get to put it to work because I'm dealt with something that's really scary that I never thought would happen. I never thought this circumstance would happen to me. And that's why I think it's easy for my mind to believe that it's happening for me.
Mm-hmm.
I really, truly do. There's a part of me that believes that. And so there are some days where I wake up, my mindset's crappy. I'm not going to lie. I'm human. And I think we all go through those periods.
The weather plays a major part too. I say all the time.
Yeah.
It's the weather. If you can wake up to a beautiful sunshiny day and the birds are chirping, that definitely changes your mood.
Yeah.
You wake up and you open up the curtains and it's gloomy and dogs are barking and, somebody probably yelling and screaming.
Yes.
It definitely changes the mood.
And it's also giving myself grace when I am feeling like I've had a couple days, I had to cancel on patients. I just did not feel good. It was just, everything was wrong. I needed to stay in bed.
Yes.
I was like, I'm just going to give myself permission to do this right now because this is what my body's asking. And I'm not going to feel guilty and shameful about it.
That's right.
And I'm not going to be mad about it. There's lupus, I feel like, and then there's obviously the physical ailments that presents. There's the flare-ups and there's the pain. We definitely won't lie about that or take that away from anybody. But then there's physical pain and then there's emotional pain. And having physical pain layered with emotional pain, which is something we have control over, just exasperates physical pain, in my opinion. So that was one thing I really had to kind of, coach myself on. Like, look at what you're doing, Stephanie. You're feeling physical pain. And with what your mind is doing right now, you're adding a whole nother layer to that physical pain with your emotional pain.
And it's funny you say that, because I say that as far as I use the word stress. So I try to have a stress-free life. So if I know I'm going into an environment where they're so negative or something is, it's just not, I can't handle it, then what I do is remove myself from it. Because if I don't, now that layer is on top of that. And now my pain is even more than what it is.
Right.
And I'm stressing out
Right.
and anxiety, the whole 9 yards. I just can't do it. I can't see you. I can't talk to you. I just need to stay in bed. I'm done for the day.
Yeah.
And I'll call you when I'm ready. Meaning that when my body is eased of whatever it's going through, because sometimes you can't explain what it is. And it's hard when you're speaking to somebody that has no clue about an autoimmune disease to say, listen, not today. Well, why? Why not?
You look fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
You look great. And I'm
But
just,
you have
all I
no
can do is
idea.
smile. Right.
Yes.
Like my sister, she was just great. Have a great. And I'm just smiling like, thank you. When I told the cast what today was like, so it is, it's definitely a layer. It's definitely many layers,
Yes. Yes.
and being able to put the right things in your body in order for your mind to function properly. When I say
Right.
is it's just as hard. It's just as hard. It's easy for people I see on TikTok, which I need to stay away from, by the way, how they get on there and, drink the smoothie, add this and do that. And they show their waistline and they like fabulosis. Did it, and I'm looking over there like, nah, that's not gonna work, But then now I'm thinking about how, oh my gosh, I need to lose more weight, or, it affects me mentally.
Yes.
It starts weighing heavy on me to the point where it's that I go and I get on the scale, which you need to throw your scales away. I needed to throw mine away, but I don't. And, so it's all into the mind. And thanks, Stephanie, because that I really, really needed that to understand. If I didn't have those steps to go by every single day, then I think I would be still 210 pounds and miserable and layering and layering and layering all this negativity or stress on top and making it worse. I really would continuously be in pain, but it definitely subsides it. I mean,
So LaTonya, before we go to break, what would you say is one of the best pieces of advice Stephanie's ever given you?
Feelings. That's no matter. I'm gonna let her explain what that means when we come back from the break. But the word feelings to me was the most important thing that turned my life around. Is understanding what feelings mean. And I know it sounds so minute, but stay tuned. You guys will really get to hear what it really means.
All right. We're going to take a little break, and then we'll come back with Stephanie and talk about feelings and grace and a whole lot of other things. If you have been listening to the Lupus It Chose Me podcast and you enjoy the conversations that we are having, we invite you to make a donation so that we can continue to use this format to raise awareness. So we'll be right back in just a moment.
Author LaTonya Bias has had lupus for over 3 decades. The diagnosis and disease totally overwhelmed her life, changing everything. This medical memoir chronicles her journey with the autoimmune disease. Offering wisdom, research, and personal anecdotes about how to best live with lupus, how to reclaim your life, all the while providing inspiration and grace to both newly diagnosed and long-term survivors. Available online at Amazon, Westbow Press, Barnes & Noble, and LoveLifeLupusFoundation.org.
Just want to let you know, don't forget to go out on Amazon and purchase Lupus It Chose Me book. It's a great informational book if you want to learn about a woman's journey myself on her way of living a life with an autoimmune disease. Now, before we went to commercial break, we were talking with our beautiful guest in regards to one of the number one things that that was a game changer for me in my life, and that was feelings. So defined feelings to our world, to our online podcast world about feelings.
I love talking about feelings. All the males that I see roll their eyes when I want to talk about feelings. Everyone's like, that's not for me. But really, feelings are so important to understand. So feelings are literally a vibration in your body. It is something that you feel. And feelings stem from, like I said earlier, your brain and the thoughts that you think. So feelings wouldn't actually exist without the human brain. That's how I know that things in the world and circumstances actually don't determine how we feel. And that was what a lot of our conversations and our meetings have been about that, because LaTonya will be dealing with, I think, stress, whether it be work stress or life stress or things happening in her life. You know, I'm feeling stressed. And it's like, well, let's pay attention to that. What is stress? Let's just even define that. Stress is a feeling.
Yes.
It doesn't just happen to you. You don't catch it. You can't get somebody else's stress. Your boss can't create it. Your kids can't create it. Your husband can't create it.
And it's juicy, y'all.
So this is juicy. So wait. So back up a minute, because I have never heard anybody describe feelings as a vibration in your body. So expand on that just a little bit, because when I think of a vibration, I think of something that shakes me, that jolt, you know, a vibration is a shake or a jolt or something that kind of, you know, gets your attention a little bit.
Yeah.
So talk to me about feelings and how it is, how you defined it as a vibration. This is good stuff. This is like really good.
So it's a chemical reaction stemmed from your brain. And then you get the aftermath of that chemical reaction, depending on the quality of the thought. Then you feel that feeling, right? And so it's different for everybody. Like me, I have chronic anxiety. And so when I feel anxiety, like really pay attention. When you're feeling something, name it, close your eyes and check in with your body. What are you actually feeling?
Okay, so anxiety is like a high intensity vibration.
For me,
right?
Yes. For a lot of patients that I work with and for myself, like my heart beats a little bit faster.
High frequency.
Yep. I go numb right here a little bit. I get a little shaky.
Okay.
Sometimes I sweat. I actually break out in like a little bit of a rash.
I raise my voice.
There's an action. Yeah. Like, but if you notice, if you just go inside your body and notice what's happening, there's a feeling happening. And like, how fascinating, my brain's creating this. That's the first thing. Like, it is a feeling. Stress actually can't hurt you. Anger can't hurt you. Sadness can't hurt you, right? It's a feeling that you're feeling. It's what our minds make that feeling mean that actually ends up hurting us. For us trying to escape it, that hurts us.
Okay.
But check in, when you notice a feeling, you know, stress for LaTonya, I always ask her, well, what are you thinking? Notice everything you just told me about work right now. Do you see those sentences? Look at what you're saying. Of course you feel stress. Look at what your brain's seeing and believing right now. I would be panicked too. Right? And it's okay that your thoughts are creating these feelings. Maybe you choose to believe these thoughts. Just because our thoughts create our feelings doesn't mean we should choose to always think positive. That's not what I'm suggesting at all. But we have to stop giving credit to our circumstances creating what we're feeling. We have to see that it's our brains that's doing that. And when we can see that, we gain all of our power back, because we are in control of our minds if we choose to be.
So we are in control of what we think. So we can choose to think defeat, or we can choose to think victory over our circumstance or over our autoimmune disease.
Yes. That's why two people with the exact same diagnosis can have very different emotional experiences of it. Because somebody's got high frequency thoughts. They feel peace. They feel love. They feel like they're going to be okay. It's not paralyzing to them. So then they can go about their life in a way their actions will be very different than a person that is thinking, I'm paralyzed and doomed. I feel fear. Their actions and results are going to be very different from that other person's experience of lupus. How is that possible if lupus is lupus?
That's right.
Right? Depends on the person and their perception of lupus.
Mm-hmm. That's good stuff.
It's kind of a broad concept. I'm throwing a lot, but
Yeah, no, it's good.
that's feelings is a lot of what
Oh, yeah.
the work that I do.
And I think the
Patience.
first 10 years was that whole process, that going through that. And now that I'm thinking about it, was it really grief or was it just my thought process? Am I going to wake up tomorrow? I feel my body going through all these changes while I'm resting. I have a migraine headache. What is it going to do if I don't open my eyes up the next morning?
Right.
You know, I got to go to work. I have this big old project. You know, I don't fill up the part. My body's aching. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do?
Look at all the thoughts. Look at all the thoughts.
How many?
All the
There you
thoughts.
go. Just
And there's
over
very
over
few
again.
circumstances in what you just said. Notice even if you separate out the circumstances, which are facts, from the thoughts, you'll see there's more thoughts than circumstances. So if we were to get factual with the circumstance, you'd be like, Tanya didn't work today, right? Or she's not going to be able to go to work today, or she has a headache. Right? We can do that as a circumstance.
Right.
But all the, oh my God, it's hard, and all of the kind of drama that we use with the way that we speak to ourselves is what exasperates our circumstances in our minds.
Yes.
And then leaves us into feelings that usually don't create the outcome that we want.
What about the feelings where you don't create the outcome that you're looking for? For example, that you do something and then you contemplate that whole process and then it turns out bad. Did I actually do that? Did I actually make that happen because I thought it? Say for example,
Give me an example.
I want to purchase a vehicle, and then I go to the dealership, and it's always about I didn't purchase a vehicle, but this is an example.
Okay.
This is an example. Purchased a vehicle, and the whole I would get anxiety on if I'm getting approved, the approval process per se.
Okay.
So now I'm there, they do all this stuff and they keep you in there for hours, but now it's okay, they're not going to give it to me. It's my credit. Something's going on, and then all of a sudden they say, sorry, you don't get the car.
Okay.
Was that something that
So
was
the
perplexing?
circumstance would be didn't get the car. The person said you didn't
Right.
get approved for the car. Now your thoughts about that circumstance will determine how you feel and then your actions afterward.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So my action was to cuss out the salesman.
So you were feeling rage or you were feeling anger because you were thinking this isn't fair.
Are you going to tell me I can't get this car? No.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Now you didn't create that circumstance. I mean, you were there, but you didn't determine whether or not you
I
would
got you.
approve or not, right? But
Right.
your experience of them telling you no or yes,
Yes.
that's on you with your mind and what you made that mean.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So
So Tanya, you were thinking that did my thoughts create the outcome? And Stephanie, you're saying we have no control necessarily over the outcome.
yeah. Over
But-
other
I shouldn't even
people,
be thinking that way. Meaning, so I just created a lot of stress for myself for the entire process,
Right.
even though I have no control. Life is about choices that you make per se. I had no control over what was going to go, if it went my way, if it didn't go my way.
Right.
You
That
know,
circumstance was out of your control.
Right.
They just
The
came
Z.
back. Yes.
And
yes.
I caused all of those channels thinking all of these thoughts beforehand. And then when I got the outcome, I created an action, which I used an example of beating up. Did I say beating up? No. Now I'm beating them up.
You chose choice language. Choice language
Yeah.
for the.
So your outcome in that would have been angry for the day.
Angry
That's the
for
result
day.
you created.
Right.
Them
Out of
telling
all
you
of
anything
that.
about the car didn't create that.
Mhm.
Right. But your anger and how you felt about that circumstance created your outcome. So
Right.
the outcomes that we create are always our outcome, what we create for ourselves, our emotional state, our minds.
So
And I
Stephanie,
think-
let's talk a little bit about when you get the lupus diagnosis and you've got to go home and tell your spouse and your kids. And so how did you, LaTonya, I think I know a little bit about your story in terms of, how you shared the information with your family and friends. But so Stephanie, how do you take that in and then go home and share those feelings of a circumstance that you have no control over with your family?
Well, I was not in coach mode, let me tell you that. There was no coaching happening. There was no managing this mind. I was like, this sucks. And I cried. And I'm not going to be around for my kids. And they're so little. And that was just the reality of where I was at. Yes, I know intellectually my mind was creating all of that for me. But that was just the reality of where I was at, where I think a lot of your listeners may have been or are right now currently.
I was there.
Yeah. And like I said before, that's where I just gave myself some grace. I'm going to let myself be mad right now. I know my thoughts are creating it and it's totally fine. I want to be mad about this right now. This is shocking and jarring. And, you know, I don't know what to think right now. I'm scared. And I think pissed was probably the overwhelming feeling for me. Yeah. So in that case, I recommend allowing yourself to feel what you're feeling, especially when you first get this information. I think that is important. I think me trying to be what I would consider toxic positivity. Well, I just know that my thoughts create my feelings. I should just be positive about lupus right now. Like I was nowhere near that in my mind. So me trying to force myself to be positive about something because intellectually I know my thoughts create my feelings did not serve me and would not have served me. I don't think it'll serve anybody in that scenario. Right.
Okay. So acting like, okay, well, I have to be positive about this. And so I'm just going to, I'm just going to tell everybody and I'm going to tell them in a positive way and not allow yourself to be angry, fill out. That doesn't serve you.
It would not serve me. And I think that's pretending. I think that's me trying to show up and be strong and pretend that everything's okay when deep down I'm hurting and I'm scared. And dishonoring what I'm really, really feeling is the worst thing I think somebody can do for themselves.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't until about 2 weeks after, like I said, of the internal tantrum and the sadness.
Whatever feelings you have, you want people to own those feelings.
Yes, I do. I do believe that that's really important.
And you would say that to me all the time.
Yes. You need to just like if somebody, like when my mom passed away, I wasn't going to be like, I'm just going to be positive about this right now. Like, I want to be sad about this. This serves me to be sad about this. I loved her. And I want to be mad about having lupus. I'm not happy about this right now. And I think that's the best thing you can do for yourself in those scenarios. If that's what you're really feeling, kind of honor that.
So now when you advise people to own it, right? You don't want them sitting in that forever.
Yes.
So
right.
When do you go, okay, enough is enough and I need to I need to back out of this pity party. How do you do that?
Yeah. When you open yourself up to feeling what you're feeling without judging it or thinking I need to be positive or I need to do this because I know better and you actually process, you let yourself feel what you're feeling, that emotion actually, that vibration actually processes through. And when that processes through and dissipates is when you will be ready to think in a new way and feel in a new way if you choose to.
Okay. So when you know that though, how do you know that you're ready that you've owned it and now you're ready to think about it purposefully in a positive way?
Yeah. Well, for everybody, it's different. I don't think there's like some specific, sign, but for most people, they'll just feel a sense of like, it's like they opened themselves up to feeling the stress and feeling the anger. They weren't resisting it or afraid of it. So then it can process through. You almost feel like a sense of calm. And like, okay, I could continue being stressed, but how is that serving me? And that's when we have that conversation. We could continue feeling this way. Do you want to though? Do you feel like that's irrelevant? Or do you feel like we're at a point now to where, okay, we've let ourselves be sad. We've let ourselves be angry, right? Is there anything else that your mind could think about lupus right now that you believe that would maybe bring you into a different feeling? And that's how that's the question I would ask.
And that's good, Gina. And what I found with that whole topic is my way was doing it is crying. That is my biggest way is to release, to get over. It's crying.
Yeah.
And I was considered a crybaby. So I didn't know all this time that was my way of
processing emotion,
processing it and letting it go, not harboring on it, not holding on, but I have to take a step back. I got to shed my tears, think through whatever I'm trying to think through, most times in the shower, so it can all go down the drain.
And I think that's a beautiful thing to do. I think it's a beautiful thing to do. And I think it's necessary.
Yeah.
And then it's just deciding, all right, now what? Now what?
Dry off and keep it moving.
It's always a choice. I can continue thinking in this way and feeling this way for the rest of my life. Is that really going to serve me? And if I want to feel differently, right, but I can't change the circumstance, the only thing that I could do is maybe change the way I'm thinking about this circumstance. So that's when it's up to the patient. It's up to you. You get to decide how you want to think.
And how did you choose to tell your spouse and your kids about your diagnosis? I'm just curious if you'd be interested in sharing that with us.
It was literally just nothing epic. Right after the phone call from my doctor, it was just like, honey, look at my labs. And there was just a lot of him patting my back and just why me? And of course, my husband's positive and you got this, you can do this. You're going to go do that podcast. And he was so supportive. And then of course I Marco Poloed. My sisters live in a different state. So I was Marco Poloing them. And I wanted the pity party from them. And my little ones, they have no idea what that is. So I haven't, I told them mommy just doesn't feel good right now. But I obviously have such a beautiful support system. I'm so glad that I found Tanya and you guys, and now I have this as a support system because I'm still trying. This is all new to me. I'm still trying to navigate this and figure out what are my next steps. And
I do that too. I mean, any information, I have my pity party. I have Gina. I have, I don't care what it is. My big toe hurt. What's wrong with you? My big toe hurt. I can't talk right now.
I needed that though. I needed to vent to my sisters. I needed to just get it all out.
Yes. And I think it's okay because it helps me.
Yeah, it helped me process. It helped me get through that first 2 weeks.
If you're talking to someone who is encouraging and supportive. Right. And when I say Miss Hill is that, she's very like a mindset coach. She's very, very,
I believe it.
Even though she knows that there's something wrong, she always looked to find the positive in it, whatever it is. Okay, let's look on the bright side. Let's, which in your mind, you teach that, think about that thought that you're saying and let's flip it. Yeah. Let's think on the bright side. How about let's flip it? Right. So, I mean, the two, I'm just like.
Or what are just all the other ways? If I could think about lupus in any other way, I wonder what else my brain could come up with. Like, let's just play with it even. Not even that we have to force come up with a positive thought. Let's just give equal airtime is what I'd call it to the possibilities of the thoughts I could think about this.
Wow.
And then it just kind of.
I love that.
Yeah, it expands your mind to think in a way that we're not taught.
That's right.
I love that.
Yeah, which can end emotional suffering, which
does.
is kind of my mission in life, to be able to end unnecessary emotional suffering.
That will be
so if you could give us one word to encourage our lupus listeners today. We talked about a lot of we've talked about a lot. We've talked about circumstances. We've talked about thoughts. We've talked about feelings around those circumstances and our actions and results or outcomes. If there's one word that you could share with lupus patients, lupus warriors like yourself, to encourage them, what would it be?
I'm trying to think of one word. I don't know if I have one word, but I think maybe one sentence.
Okay,
it's a good way.
You're allowed to do a whole sentence.
Dealing with this, or you just got this diagnosis, or maybe it's been several years. I would tell you to decide what you make it mean. To decide on purpose what you make having lupus mean. You get to decide whether it paralyzes you or whether you can still live an amazing life. So just decide. I know for me, that sounds like such a simple thing, just decide. But really, that's going to be with your mind and your thoughts. Choose how you want to think about what you're dealing with right now, with whatever autoimmune disease it may be.
What did you choose?
That is where you're going to be, gain all your power back.
That's right. Yeah. That's how we do it. We're about
Stephanie, what did you choose?
I choose to believe that it's happening for me.
Okay.
It's happening for me.
And Tanya, what did you choose?
Oh, I chose to love life and, love life, and life is not about lupus. So that's what I chose. And to advocate. The world will know. That's my next number one. The world, hello, you guys. Y'all listening? This is some good stuff.
The world will know that you can learn to love
Life.
your life
With
Yes.
with
lupus.
lupus.
Yes. Well, I'm going to do
Yeah.
it.
Love.
I'm going to do it.
Yes.
I'll be your guinea pig. I'll do it.
Absolutely.
Well, Stephanie, we have loved having you on the podcast today. And I know that LaTonya has loved having you as her mindset coach. She's told me
Thank you.
great things about you. And so we would also love to have you consider coming back and talking to us again
Of course.
at some point in time in the future.
Well, thank you both so much for having me. It's an honor. I'm so passionate about what I do. And anytime I have the opportunity to share this work, I'm game. So,
And I think you
Thank
mentioned
you.
that was one of your goals too, is to help others.
yeah, it's my mission in life. And I think this really is kind of a gateway to be able to do that at a level that I wasn't expecting.
I see a tour coming. I just put that in the atmosphere. I see us on a tour. Mindsets.
So Stephanie, if there are people listening and they want in the Dallas area and they want to contact you, is there a email or something that you can share with us that will allow people to reach you?
So you can reach me at stephanie.bertram, just my first and last name, at vitalityweightLossInstitute.com.
Okay.
Or on Instagram at Stephanie Bertram with 2 S's.
Okay. Awesome.
Love it. Love
Awesome.
it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the conversation. And we look forward to seeing you next time on the Lupus It Chose Me podcast. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the Lupus It Chose Me podcast with LaTonya Bias. LaTonya is a native of Chicago, author, and philanthropist. She has a PhD in business and is the founder and CEO of the Love Like Lupus Foundation. Although she battles lupus every day, LaTonya is committed to creating awareness, sharing knowledge, and funding a cure for this disease. Married for more than 20 years, she has 3 children and 3 grandchildren who light up her life. Until next time, LaTonya wants you to remember you can learn to love your life with lupus. You can learn more about LaTonya and her work by visiting the foundation website at lovelifeLupusFoundation.org. Her book, Lupus It Chose Me, is available at Amazon.com. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Subscribe, share, and listen on Apple Podcasts or wherever you like to stream.
The opinions of the guests are their own and do not represent the opinions of the Lupus It Chose Me podcast. The podcast content is informational only and is not intended to treat, diagnose, or cure. You should consult with your doctor or medical professional before you make any decisions that could adversely affect your health.